For me, just to get us started, I had a pretty hard childhood. Well, my father was alcoholic and abusive, and so physically and verbally abusive. And so growing up, it gave me a lot to work on later on in life. And especially, the one thing why I want to bring this topic up is because this stuff shows up so much in our relationships. And it happens to be that our partner or the person that we marry or the other person in our relationship ends up being the other person that gets the brunt of whatever some of our wounds are from childhood. And also serves to reflect back to us where we are ready to heal. And it goes both ways. So it's when we come into relationship, not only do they do that, but then they have their own wounds and their own stuff that they're coming in with. And so then we sort of end up in relationship just triggering each other and bouncing our wounds off of each other. And, and that's really the biggest reason why I believe that relationships fail is because we come into that dynamic, after the honeymoon phase is over, of course, and then we're sort of faced with that, and we don't know necessarily how to handle it. We don't know how to heal our wounds. We don't know how to take responsibility. We don't really know where our responsibility lies. And for the most part, we've been conditioned, actually, to be in a codependent kind of relationship. So when we are children, we're born very dependent. We needed our parents to feed us and to clothe us and to love us and to bathe us and everything. And somewhere along the line, when we go from childhood to adulthood, we transition. And there's this place, and it's different timing for everyone, where we become independent and we let go of that dependent nature. And some of us as adults have still never really transitioned in that way. And so we use our relationship and we're looking for love and for fulfillment and for everything else from our relationship or from our partner or our spouse in our relationship. And so that's also where some of the trouble comes in. Things that I always love to share with people is that, we weren't the ones that started with these issues. It didn't just start with us. So let's take that abandonment or, for example, my fear of love. That did not start with me. That didn't start with you. It was handed down from generation to generation. We pass our genes down, but we also pass down our cellular memories and our energy about, things. So it's clear because it's like, for example, my father was abandoned by his father, and then he abandoned me, and so there's like this just thing that pops up over and over and over again. So when I'm here now with, wounds of, alcoholic and abusive father, low self-worth, trying to figure things out on my own, if I don't stand in that one place and start to take responsibility for my own reality, then what happens is that my autopilot reactions, my subconscious reactions are what are going to get played out. So when we go into fight or flight, when we get triggered or when we turn in, our fears come in, that's when we're no longer conscious, or aware, self-aware, and we sort of hand over control to our autopilot subconscious reactions. And all of that stuff that gets played is stuff from our childhood and stuff that just comes up because of in reaction to this or that. So we move into, techniques for fighting the threat, or sometimes we run away from the threat. And for me, that was my MO. Early on when we would come into conflict, I would just run away. I would just find a way to either get out. I would get out of the relationship. I don't know how many times when we were dating that we actually broke up and then eventually got back together again. But it was because I was triggered to run away because I was scared of that commitment, scared of the fear, scared of being hurt, really, So it was my way to protect myself. And that's something that I want to highlight too, is that we don't do this just because we're messed up. We're actually doing it because it's the best way that we know to protect ourselves. Mm-hmm. That's such a great analogy. I love it because it is really, when we're doing growth, we're essentially birthing new life into the world. Mm-hmm. You know, whether it's our new life or our new experience in life or our new relationship or, you know, whatever it is that we really are creating. And when we're doing that kind of growth, that intense growth, it is similar to labor in a way that is like, you know, at first it's like, okay, this is what I got to do. I know about what I got to do. And then you got to get to the doing of it, you know? And then once you do that, it's hard. It's hard in that moment and it's painful and it's a struggle. But sometimes that pain and that struggle is only because you're fighting against it, you know, and you're not really letting it, you know, letting yourself relax into it and just keep opening your heart and your mind to it, you know. And that's really like the process of the Legendary Love program as well. It's just, you know, constant opening. Oh, I want to close. No, I'm mad about that. Nope. Open. And it's so similar to when you're birthing a child.
It's not just so similar. I could take everything you just said and apply it to everything that I teach in birth. It's the same thing. When we talk about pain management, I'm talking about, hey, it is your natural instinct to fight this, right? Just like if you're in a space of deep growth and you don't want to be a victim to your circumstances anymore and you don't want to feel sorry for yourself and you want to take control of this, but you're trying to fight against it so hard, it's so difficult that you're actually doing the opposite and creating more turmoil instead of surrendering to the process and opening up and being willing to receive and do this work. It's the same exact thing. When you stop fighting it, magic happens.
Part of that fight is judgment,
you
know? So a lot of that, and it's, in the relationship world, there's judgment against myself, like I'm not good enough, or I need to be better, or there's these problems about me or whatever, or there's judgment against or towards our partner. He's not good enough. She's not good enough. She's this or he's that, you know, and all of that judgment is what keeps the pain and the struggle present, you know? And so one of the things that is key in really creating a thriving relationship is learning to let go of that judgment and constantly see the good in yourself and in your partner. And to be able to, even when in the hardest moments to do that is when your partner is coming at you with their pain, you know, and you, instead of reacting, you know, you see through that pain and you see the good, you know. One of my favorite quotes that I teach about, you might remember, is the Marianne Williamson quote. You know, it's like, it goes, oh, shoot, how does it go? Well, it's something about like it's this pain or this fear or this behavior, all behavior is either love or a call for love.
Every act is either, and you can say it different ways, but every act is either giving love or a call for love or cry for love.
Asking, begging. Yeah. And so when our partner is doing anything unthoughtful or inconsiderate or rude or mean or whatever it is, you know, that is their call for love. When he's in pain, when my son's in pain, I'll pick him up, I'll hold him, and he'll show me his boo-boo. He'll show me where he hurt himself, and then I'll give it a kiss, and then he is fine, and he goes back to being who he is and playing in his life, you know, and that's exactly what we're doing. Like, that's exactly the kind of space that we can, and that is our opportunity to hold for our spouse and for our partner, because they're the most important person in our world. You know, our family is the most important, the most loving, it's our resource and our home for unconditional loving. And so when our partner has a wound and they're showing it to us, we have the opportunity to hold them and to say, hey, I see that you have some pain, and to allow them the space and the loving to be able to let go of that pain, you know. And unfortunately, you know, something in our mind and in our conditioning shifts when someone is being rude to us as we need to go into our defenses or run away from it, but really that rudeness or that unthoughtful behavior is just them saying, hey, I've got pain, and they're showing it to you. This innocent approach to trying to get rid of this wound or this pain in the best way that they knew how. They have this need, I have this wound, and I need to let go of it in some way. And so that's what lashing out is, So when our partners or people in our lives really are lashing out either physically, verbally, or emotionally, that is them trying to let go or release that painful feeling inside of them.
And work through it, and they don't know how.
And they don't have it. They weren't taught, they weren't shown, they weren't given that model from their parents.
Yep.
And so then they're giving it to you because, hey, you're the one that loves them the most in the world. So here you go, spouse. And be the one that takes responsibility for the reality that we are creating, not only for ourselves, but also in our relationship. And, one of the things that I think is hard for most people to understand is that when we come into relationship, it's not just me and my wounds, it's now them and their wounds and their childhood and their history and everything that they've got going on. And so sometimes we say, we buy into this weird conditioning that, well, if they are not willing to do the work, then this relationship is over or not. We don't have the ability to work on it, that I can only come so far and they have to meet me halfway, and I hear that so much. And that's just a conditioned belief because the thing is, if you study physics at all, that everything is energy. And when we bring ourselves to the relationship with sort of like a half-in energy, then our partner's going to bring their half-in energy. And and we're not, and we're going to get that kind of reality in our relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And if we instead say, take the energy that we're bringing into the relationship and we say, you know what? I'm going to take responsibility for my own happiness. I don't need you to make me happy. If I feel like something's missing, I'm going to go inside of myself to find out where is that coming from? Where is that perception and that thinking and that reality coming from inside of me? Getting to the root, because there's something in me that is attracting something in my partner that they're just really reflecting back to me. So when I am, looking out into my relationship and I see my partner is not passionate enough or not caring enough or not doing their part or inconsiderate or da-da-da, and then I'm reacting to that energy with anger and resentment and things like that, I'm keeping more of that energy present in my relationship instead of actually changing it. Because if I went inside and said, okay, why am I attracting or pulling this energy out of my partner? Where is it inside of me that I'm sort of pulling, having this reflected back to me? That's one of the things that is a big paradigm shift, is realizing that our partner is this beautiful mirror to sort of show us what we've got inside that we can't really see. So when we look outside and we see our partner doing this, this, or that, or we have fears that they're doing this, this, or that, it's a reflection back to us and what we really have going on.
Yeah, and all our own insecurities and wounds.
Yeah. And then how, our energy that we've got that we're pulling into the relationship. And it does not mean by any means that they don't have their stuff that they also have to work on, but it just takes one person to be the bigger person and to say, all right, I'm going to take responsibility for my part. Instead of keep needing you to do your part halfway, right? I'm going to take 100% responsibility for my part, regardless of what you're doing, and then see how the energy changes.
Where is my responsibility in this? Because no matter how much the other person has wronged me, and no matter how you want to look at it on a scale, if that person's done worse or more awful or more bad, regardless, I have work to do here. I have my side of the relationship. I have how I react. I have how I respond. I have how I choose to show up. Because you unintentionally allow the other people to own their own stuff and rise up and work on their own stuff. And when you're trying to force them to, they don't.
Right.
But when you just do you, they do them.
You can change whether your partner's on board or not. It's absolutely in your domain to start shifting the energy in your relationship. So if you would like to chat with me, you can book a consult. Just go to jessicahartley.com/program. And on that page, you'll get some information and you can find my calendar to book an appointment with me. And we can chat about where you're at and can go from there. Talk to you later. Bye for now.